Kelly, let me ask you a question. In terms of these batch plants that we have in the state, are we having a bunch of problems with those? Are you getting a bunch of complaints about those?
We issue our permits to make sure that they are protective of public health and the environment at the fence line. There's a lot of interest in concrete batch plants. Yes,
saying,
Senator.
I'm getting a bunch of complaints about these batch plants.
I would want to double check with my compliance and enforcement folks on the number of complaints that we receive related to the concrete batch plants.
Do you have anyone there here with you?
With the chair's permission, can I check with
Of course.
Mr. Pritzloff again?
I know it is.
We're going to have to follow up specifically with you on those numbers, Senator.
You didn't anticipate that those would be questions that you'd be asked this afternoon?
I don't have a number for you, sir, on the number of complaints for concrete batch plants.
So you didn't anticipate that was going to be an issue. We've had some issues in North Central Texas, and I think about the state of Texas, we've had issues about these batch plants.
Talking to the microphone, Senator, please.
We've had issues throughout the state of Texas as it relates to these batch plants. Have you been contacted by legislators about these plants? Have you been personally contacted by legislators about these plants?
Letters have been submitted to the agency addressed to the executive director. I haven't been personally contacted via phone or a verbal conversation.
By any legislators?
You and I have discussed concrete batch plants. I believe it was in August of 2023, September of 2023, that time frame.
Am I the only one that's contacted you about it?
As memory serves, yes, sir. Yes, Senator.
And so you don't have any idea about how many complaints you've received from, your agency has received from
Asked
legislators?
and answered.
No, that's a different question. You have no idea.
Playing judge with you.
I know,
I know.
Judge, ma'am.
Yeah, but don't ask the same question over again. Okay.
Well, thank you.
Sorry, we're just having a little
Okay.
sibling.
So,
Right.
as it relates to legislators, you have no idea how many have contacted you, but you know that there's been a lot of complaints about these batch plants, correct? And from that vantage point, have you done anything in order to make certain any concerns raised have in fact been addressed?
Yes, sir. So several aspects to their, all complaints we receive, the agency responds to. And if there's any type of violation that our folks identify as a result of those complaints, whether it's concrete batch plants or any other facility, we conduct an investigation and proceed with enforcement. Can you repeat the other part of your question for me to make sure that I'm responding comprehensively?
Well, I guess we could go into a specific case, but I'm not going to take up the committee's time.
Okay.
North Central Texas, where people lie on their applications, that we enter into a settlement agreement with them and give them the ability to continue to do business, because that's what happened in the Dallas area. Am I correct about that?
That's not my understanding. Craig's going to provide some details on this specific facility. If any of our commissioners are in the room, they probably need to step out because it sounds like this may be a contested matter.
Senator West, Craig Pritzloff, Director, Office of Compliance and Enforcement. I want to first go back to your initial question on number of complaints. Every year, the TCEQ receives over 10,000 complaints across all media. About 5,000 of those are lead to investigations. In terms of air complaints regarding concrete batch plants in particular, for fiscal year 24, we received 67 complaints across the state.
Okay. And 67 complaints across the state. As it relates to the one in the Dallas area, you did the investigation on that?
We're speaking of a specific enforcement case, yes.
Okay.
That case proceeded through enforcement. An agreed order was issued. During dependency of the agreed order, the facility stopped operating pending it receiving its authorization.
And the authorization was given to the same company that who operated that facility for 2 or 3 years without a permit, correct?
It had operated before our investigation without an authorization. That's correct.
An authorization is synonymous with a permit, but yet and still, your agency decided after your investigation to give them a permit to operate even after they didn't have one and operated for 2 or 3 years prior to that. Is that correct?
It applied for a permit, and it also received, it was the subject of an agreed order where it agreed to cease operating until it received that authorization, that permit.
But you and I, the agency and I just kind of disagree on that because of the hearing that was held, the number of people that turned out, expressed their dismay about how it was operating, the impact it was having on the community. So we just have a disagreement at this point about how the agency responded to that. What's the status of that case at this point?
The agreed order was issued by the commission, and I believe it has since been challenged.
Okay, so it's in a contested hearing process now?
That's my understanding.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, okay, that